need to press. Okay, great. So make your way into your meditation posture. And on the way, you may like to put your phone on silent or do not disturb. And basically, do anything that helps you feel like you can transition into the meditation to be able to practice wholeheartedly. And in your meditation posture, as you get comfortable, you might want to do a few small movements just to ease in, perhaps rolling the shoulders back, forward, maybe tilting the head side to side, nodding the head up and down, perhaps leaning the torso forward and back, and then side to side, even just very small movements. And then let the movements get smaller and smaller until you find that quality of poise, balance, and stillness. And whatever posture you're in, just check to make sure that you are going to be comfortable and that your posture will also allow you to be alert, have a sense of brightness, making sure the spine is nice and long and that you feel supported so you can be completely at ease. And so we have half an hour to practice here. You've made it to the part of the day where we get to practice together. You can mentally affirm this to yourself, resolving to let go of anything from the day as much as you can, resolving to practice patiently and diligently. And also resolving to bring a curiosity to your experience. Seeing if it's possible to learn new ways of seeing your experience. Now, check in with the body once more and just invite relaxation. See if the shoulders want to move a little further away from the ears. The arms and legs can be heavy. If the belly can release. Just through intention, inviting relaxation. Now we're going to practice a technique called See, Hear, Feel. Basically, what we're doing is dividing up sensory experience into three categories: sensations that you see, sensations that you hear, and sensations that you feel. And in feel will also include smell and taste. And this can be a really useful tool to separate out experiences and to notice their sensory qualities. And so to begin, tune into the sounds of your environment. Notice any external sounds that you can hear. I can hear the sound of vehicles on the nearby roads. I can hear the hum of my computer fan. I can hear the sound of people moving. And what I'd like you to do is each time you notice a sound in the present moment, silently use the label hear, as in I'm hearing a sound. You can use the labels here as a guide, as something to support the practice and to keep you focused, to return attention back to the present moment. As you observe different sounds, just keep labeling here, here, aiming for a, a steady rhythm, not too fast, not too slow. Every few seconds, noticing what sound you hear in that moment, labeling it with here, and allowing your attention to soak into it, to notice those sensations. And as you keep returning to the present moment and returning to that level of sensation, notice that it helps to simplify experience. Allow the body to relax and allow the mind to settle. Good. Now we'll move to the sensations of the body. So allow your scope of attention to shift to the body space and notice whatever sensations are present for you right now. You might notice the sensation in the hands, the sensation in the feet, the feeling of being supported. There might be warmth or coolness. There may be texture, pressure, the feeling of clothes against your skin. Whatever sensations are present. And each time you notice a sensation, use the label feel. And say this label in a calm, equanimous voice. Just acknowledging, allowing that sensation to be there, and then allowing it to change, pass away, to be replaced by a new sensation in your attention. Noticing any sensations in the body, labeling feel. If the same sensation stays in your attention, it's totally fine to relabel. You can keep watching the same sensation closely and keep labeling it. It's also fine if it feels like you are directing your attention, choosing what sensation to look at. There's a spectrum here between directing attention and receiving. It might be interesting to notice which one it feels like you're doing or where on that spectrum it feels like you're at. Good. And now we come to see. So if you have your eyes open, you can notice things in the visual field. Notice what you're looking at and the qualities, the textures, the brightness or darkness. If you have your eyes closed, you can actually do the same thing. So behind closed eyelids, what do you see? It's not quite nothing. The visual sense continues even with eyes closed. Maybe you see darkness. Maybe it's murky, vague, blurry. Maybe you see the light coming in through the eyelids. Or maybe there's just a sort of quiet, restful, blank space. Whatever you notice in the visual field, label C. Fully allowing whatever sensation is there. Allowing your attention to soak into it and to notice with as much clarity as you can, what is it that you see? Being curious about even those blank, dark spaces. Good. So that covers the external senses. Now, if that feels like a good place for you for today, stay with that. If you'd like to explore a bit further, I'm going to give the instructions for applying this internally. So, just as we've divided up sensations into three different categories for the external sensations, we can do the same for internal, for any mental activity, for thoughts, for the thinking process. Thoughts will often be made up of mental image, a visual component to thinking, or there may be mental talk, a sonic component, quite often talking, such as internal dialogue or imagining a conversation. And there may also be an internal feeling, an emotion, feeling, a bodily sense of the thought. And so the next time a thought arises, I'd like you to try to notice what the thought is made up of. Is it mental image? Is it mental talk? Or is it a feeling? And the labels that you can use for this are see in, hear in, or feel in. And notice that some thoughts will be a combination of 2 or 3 of these different categories. Feel free to just label whatever it feels like is accurate at that time. And then the next moment, you might even give it a different label, noticing a different quality of it. Observing the thinking process, noticing what this internal activity is made up of, and giving it a label to clearly acknowledge it, to allow it to be there, and to remain equanimous, letting the internal activity flow. Now, observing thoughts can be tricky, very easy to get pulled in, get caught up in the thinking. It's totally fine if you do get caught up. In the next moment that you are aware, that you notice what you're doing, you can replay the last few thoughts that led you to that point. Kind of rewind back through what thoughts were present. And that can help to get some clarity and maybe even notice what thoughts were more sticky. And here, as we observe thinking, you can imagine this like you are watching a mental TV. There's a screen that images appear on. There's sounds coming from these mental speakers. And there's also feelings linked to those images and sounds. And if you can take an observer's viewpoint, sit back and watch the TV without getting too caught up, then the images and sounds and feelings can flow. And try to not be one of the characters on the TV, one of the actors in the show. And try to also notice if it feels like you're yelling at the TV. Instead, just allow whatever channel is playing to play and observe it with clarity. And this can be quite enjoyable, can be fascinating to see what the mind comes up with. Notice that through this process of labeling, we can bring curiosity to the experience and maybe even see the sensations from a different perspective. We can allow them to arise and pass. We can be less attached, less caught up. And this can bring a great sense of equanimity, sense of balance, not pushing and pulling, not holding on to those sensations, but instead allowing them to flow. And in the last couple of minutes here, I'd like you to see if there's anything in your sensory experience, internal or external, that feels pleasant. Maybe there's a particular sensation that is interesting, different, or feels nice. And just try to soak that up. Really enjoy it. Nice work, everyone. And as you come out of the meditation slowly, notice that you can actually continue practicing in this way, even as you move around and do things. Maybe with the labels, or maybe just a noticing what is being seen, heard, and felt.